Who indeed does our political class serve? The approval of a staggering $95.3 billion aid package for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan by both the House and Senate raises profound questions about the priorities of our leaders. Of this package, approximately $60 billion is earmarked for operations in Ukraine, while Israel receives $14.1 billion for military endeavors in the Middle East. Though $9.2 billion will supposedly aid Gaza civilians, the package allocates another $9 billion to Taiwan, risking further estrangement from China. Amidst this, our politicians commend themselves, brandishing Ukrainian flags.
Oh, one voting present. I missed it, but thank you. Okay. The House will be in order. The House will be in order. The chair would remind my colleagues to observe proper decorum. Flag waving on the floor is not appropriate. The House will be in order.
Even as domestic challenges like border security remain egregiously unfunded and national debt soars towards $35 trillion. The unmistakable dominance of the military-industrial complex over these decisions reveals a concerning alignment. Historically, this complex has steered U.S. foreign policy more towards sustaining global military engagements rather than focusing on humanitarian outcomes or the welfare of its own citizens. For instance, during the Cold War, U.S. foreign aid was frequently criticized as a tool for perpetuating military and geopolitical interests at the expense of genuine humanitarian aid. The current fiscal extravagance follows this precedent, seemingly prioritizing strategic military alliances and the profits of defense contractors above the direct needs of the American populace. If truly representative of the American people, our leaders would prioritize waving the American flag, fortifying our borders, and curbing the rapid erosion of citizens' purchasing power. As we can see from the past, significant government deficits have invariably precipitated severe economic repercussions, including inflation and burgeoning debt crises. Post-World War II, America saw policies aimed at balancing military expenditure with domestic economic health. Currently, however, warnings from international bodies like the IMF and the World Bank about our massive fiscal deficits exacerbating global economic instability and inflation seem to fall on deaf ears. These warnings articulate a clear risk: heightened funding costs worldwide, which exacerbate global economic fragilities and risks. Why then do our political leaders continue to engage so willingly in nearly every global conflict, seemingly at the expense of both our economy and those around the world? By year's end, the interest payments on our national debt are projected to surpass the total spending on military and Medicare combined. This relentless pursuit of a flawed foreign policy, orchestrated by what can be termed a new world order of self-serving elites, starkly contrasts with the interests of the American people whom these politicians claim to represent. As other nations begin to decouple from the U.S. dollar in international trade and reserves, driven by justified concerns over our fiscal policies, the U.S.'s economic preeminence and the standard of living it supports are at risk. Historically, our leverage in global economics, heavily underwritten by the dollar's status as the reserve currency, has afforded the U.S. substantial economic advantages. However, the continuous misuse of this position for asset confiscation and economic coercion is leading to its inevitable decline. Thus, it is imperative to question, for whom do these political figures really work? The evidence suggests a disconnection from American interests, aligning instead with a narrow cohort of elites whose ambitions undermine the collective economic sovereignty and well-being of the American populace. This path, unless corrected, promises further economic and geopolitical erosion, perpetuating a cycle detrimental to all but a few.